whatever you want.
Great. Hi, Jeff Gayduk here from Premier Tourism Marketing. I'm live in an ABC Motorcoach from the ABA 2013 convention. With me is Pete Pantuso. Pete, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks for being here at the show again.
It's great to be here again. And Charlotte, this is the third time I've been here in the last 6 years and second time with ABA. So it's always fun to come back and see the city that's grown up a lot. I owe an intern in the office an apology because when I talked to him about my trip, I said, don't get too excited. Charlotte doesn't have a big infrastructure, and sure enough, you come back 3 years later and they've really done a lot to boost their downtown activity. There's a really kind of a cool vibe and activity and vibrancy what's going on here.
Yeah, Charlotte is an incredible destination, and for people that have either never been before or they haven't been, as you point out, for a few years, it's a completely different city from the last time ABA was here in 2009. A very vibrant downtown, new entertainment district, new theater, new brand new NASCAR museum that wasn't here before. You know, they've got a brand new concert hall for their Philharmonic Orchestra. I mean, those are the kinds of big ticket items that they've got that they didn't have. You can also, it's a small city, you can walk from one side of the city to the other, and if you took that walk one way and back, you'd see about 70 or 80 restaurants, top first-class restaurants, and restaurants of every type of food, every type of cuisine. It's an amazing destination.
Yeah,
amazing.
And they've really, and despite the economic conditions, they've really done a phenomenal job of bringing these to market. And as we start to recover from the recession, they should really be in for a huge boost in tourism.
Well, and that's the amazing thing in talking to Mike Butts, the executive director of the Charlotte Visitors Association. So many of the new things that were built, the new structures, were already planned for, they were already funded, and they were beginning to take shape well before the economic downturn. Just so while everybody else was suffering and nobody was building, they were in the midst of a building boom here. And so you're right, you know, they're 4 or 5 years ahead of a lot of the rest of the country in terms of being ready for the rebound of the economy.
Good idea. Speaking of rebound, there's been a vibe around this convention, and it seems as though people are happier this year. From your perspective, what are you hearing on the show floor, both about the show and overall about business?
Well, it's interesting, Jeff, because I'm hearing people tell me, you know, I don't know what's different about the show, but something's different from the past. And they say that in a very positive sense. Now, last year, I can tell you, we had one of the best shows we've ever had. The numbers in terms of satisfaction, in terms of value that people got, were phenomenal. We do a survey of the attendees after every show, and it came back in the 90 percentile of how much they enjoyed being in Grapevine. But they're telling me this is an even more positive feel that they have. And I think there's a couple things going on. The other thing we did last year, as you may well know, is we did a study on return on your investment. How much business did you book here? And we found out that almost $80 million of business got booked at or shortly after Marketplace. And so their return on their investment was about 30 times their investment. So that obviously created a positive buzz. We're coming out of the doldrums in the economy, as you point out. That's obviously very, very positive. But I think, you know, the big ticket item is the fact that they find that ABA's Marketplace is a place to do business, and it's the one show that they want to come to like no other to make sure they're here to do business. The floor is phenomenal, the attendance is phenomenal. We have more people here both on the buyer and seller side than we've had in probably 4 or 5 years.
Great, and it's an awesome way to start the year as well. Most people getting over the holiday doldrums, as you mentioned, and coming here first week in January and just kicking things off in high gear.
Yeah, absolutely. They find it's a great way to start the year. I mean, this really starts the selling year, the buying year for the buyers. It puts them in a position to begin to develop their sales products and their catalogs for their customers, their tour customers, for the rest of this year and to begin to prepare for 2014 as well. So it's a kickoff. It's really a kickoff of a 2-year cycle.
Good point. Yesterday, the gentleman, professor from DePaul University, unveiled the recent study from their exhaustive efforts in gauging the intra-city bus traffic, and the numbers are going up year after year. In my opinion, it's no longer a fad. I think it was 7.5% last year from 2000. 2011. And what I think is so cool about this is, and you and I have talked for years about how we transition this. And, we're here in a bus right now, and it's a really cool vehicle.
Yes.
This is beautiful lighting in here, great seats. Many of these have Wi-Fi capabilities. We're looking at the flat panel TVs here. But we've had to work so hard to get people to say buses are cool. It's safe transportation. It's cheaper than car travel. It's cheaper than train travel, air travel. So in many of the people that are taking these trips are that younger generation. So how do we capitalize on that for an industry that doesn't have a lot of resources?
You raise some great points. I mean, this is certainly, as you look around, it's not your grandfather's bus. This is a very nice vehicle. It's very comfortable to ride in, big windows, panoramic view, comfortable suspension, Wi-Fi on many of the coaches now, seat belts, brand new safety devices. Every one of these buses on the floor has got seat belts in it. And there are a lot of additional safety features being built into the coach that people never see, like stability control and fire suppression systems and those kinds of things. So the vehicle is an absolutely perfect vehicle to be traveling on, comfortable. The other piece that we're beginning to see, and the Schwieterman study points that out, is people are embracing motor coach travel. And I think there's a number of reasons for that. Certainly the price point is attractive. Companies are marketing themselves differently than they have in the past. As he points out, we've seen almost 7.5% growth in the last 12 months. You compare that to airline growth, which has been about 1 or 2%, Amtrak growth, which is about 1 or 2%. It's not even close. We're growing 3 and 4 and 5 times the level of Amtrak and airlines are. So people are finding us. They're realizing that it's not your grandfather's product anymore. It's an easy way to travel. I can get work done. I can get to my destination safely and comfortably. Excuse me. I think what we need to do as an industry, though, is figure out, well, how do you take those passengers and transition them into the travel and tour market? Because obviously they're new customers, but they're primarily, in his study, scheduled service point to point.
Sure.
They're the Bolt bus, the Mega bus, the express services, a lot of other types of that are going primarily city to city, develop city pairs, somewhat like Southwest developed, finding city pairs where there's travel and putting service in there. But I think the great thing is we're bringing a whole new demographic of that 25 to 50-year-old who wasn't typically bus friendly in the past to the coach. And as they ride, they're typically more affluent. The bus is an option when they could easily fly, they could easily drive, and they could easily take the train. So they begin to think then, well, how else can this coach be used? How else can it be designed? And we're seeing companies that are, have a more affluent population are putting in 2-in-1 seating to meet the needs of that population. 35 seats, first-class seats, very wide.
I like that.
Wi-Fi, galleys in the back. So they're realizing that the coach can be designed and used in any way they want for their needs, not just for that ride point to point, but sporting events or whatever, cultural events or anything else they may want to go to. The bus is here, and I don't think they had the mindset of even what the bus was before, because they were thinking of it in 20-year-old technology and design.
Sure. Well, and kudos to the bus manufacturers for having the foresight, as you mentioned with Charlotte and the infrastructure they've put in, is that buses are extremely expensive to manufacture, and they've put the design ideas on the table and equipped them so without the sort of technology in order to appease the younger traveler, we wouldn't be in this position.
No, you're absolutely right, because the younger traveler, or the traveler who typically isn't familiar with group travel, thinks, I've got 40 or 50 people, they're all doing the same thing, they're all moving like lemmings, and that's not the case anymore. I mean, if I've got Wi-Fi on a coach, I'm watching the movie on my iPad that I want to watch, while my neighbor, across the aisle is watching what they want to watch, or doing their work as they're traveling, or doing some research, or looking at what restaurants they're going to go to when they get to their destination. I mean, those are the kinds of things that you can do that you didn't have the ability to do before. Also the way group travel is being done is differently. We're seeing a lot more tour operators build a lot more flexibility into schedules, a lot more choice into schedule, picking the hotel that you want to go to. Not everybody staying at the same hotel or eating the same food or going to the same restaurant, but having choices all along the way. Kind of, I always describe it as the cruise model. When you're booking a cruise, you can make those kinds of choices and decisions.
And those operators, I think, are reaping the rewards for it.
They absolutely are. I mean, those operators will tell you that, it's more time, it's more effort to build the trip as an individual trip, as opposed to everybody doing the same thing. But they find also that the customer is less price sensitive when you give them those options. and obviously the reward for that is a stronger customer base and better return on their investment of time.
And ideally higher margins as well.
Absolutely.
Pete, thank you for your time. One last question before we go.
Sure.
During your opening presentation, you spent some time talking about the ABA Foundation,
yes.
and I know there's various aspects to that, but one of them is the scholarship portion, and brought out a few young girls and talked about their experience and what they were able to do through scholarship. Why is that important to you guys?
Well, yeah, the foundation has done phenomenal work. A tremendous amount of research in this industry is being generated through the foundation. But the core of the foundation, what started the foundation almost 18 years ago, was when my predecessor, George Snyder, unfortunately passed away during his presidency and at another trade show. But when money was collected for George, they said, you know, George was very much committed to education, to growth. He was very instrumental in the CTIS program that we have. And so let's develop a scholarship program in his name. And that's how it started. And so now fast forward almost 18 years, the scholarship program gives out 20 scholarships. They're for travel, tourism, transportation, business, anything that might be related to aspects of the industry that we're in. And so we encourage anyone who's a member of the association, when we put out the notice, which will probably come out late January or February, that the scholarship program is over, to make sure you let your colleagues know that. You know, post it on the bulletin board. You know, we'll be giving away $60,000 worth of scholarships in this coming cycle, the 13-14 cycle, to 20 deserving students, and one student will get a $10,000 award. And it's just a great opportunity to share, you know, in the industry and help grow the industry by bringing new people into it at a higher education point.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your leadership of the industry. I don't think we would be here in this position without somebody of your caliber. So we sincerely appreciate all you do for the organization and the industry.
Well, we appreciate it. We're glad you're here. You know, you've been a great partner with us, and we certainly look forward to working more with you and with your team in the future.
Best of 2013.
Thank you.